Jay here. Today I want to talk to you about my paddleboard. It's a LIVEWATERSPORTS 12-foot L2 paddleboard. It's very stable. I get a lot of questions about this board when I'm out on the water. As you can see, this is where I stand on the board a lot. And I always have these boots on when I'm out. And this originally came with a handle here, but that eventually wore off. This board is over 3 years old. Was outside for over 3 years also. Now I got it in the garage. But the board is 52 pounds, and I use this strap now to carry it around most of the time. And you can also pivot it from one end to the other to move it around. You just got to move it a little ways. Best way to do it is just lift it up like this, pivot it this way, or you can slide it if you're on the grass. But usually I'll just pivot it around and pick it up and put it in the back of the truck. Now, some of the features of the board, it has all these tracks everywhere, these channels, and these allow you to do a lot of attachments. Like here I have these rings, and I can use this rope to grab, pick up the board, the front of the board. And Yak Attack makes these, a lot of people make these. Then I have my Yak Attack paddle holder. Paddle fits right in there. I'll show you a little bit later. But you got these tracks, and you can accessorize with whatever you like to add onto yours. It takes a long time to figure out what you use versus what somebody else uses, but less is better. These are Yak Attack accessories also. I put my thermoses in here. I usually carry 3 40-ounce thermoses full of water or something else to drink, like Gatorade, and that keeps me quenched on my outing. Now, when you're on a paddleboard, it's very stable, especially this one, and you're going to want to stand with your feet like this, pointed forward, and you're not going to want to move around a lot. And the less you move, the better off you are. Alright, this is my Engel dry box that I have, and put all my tackle and phone and everything I want to keep dry in there. Kind of a mess, but that's what it is. I usually don't have to go in there too much. Then I have this accessory from Paddling Paradise. It's a nice little thing. They had it around a 5-gallon bucket, and I strapped it on the front to give me quick accessibility to things like hook removers. I have my glue in there. I have my scissors in there. I have my quick measuring stick right there. And also, you know, you can have these 4 rod holders. Make sure if you get the Engel, you get the one with the 4 rod holders. I usually only bring 2 rods, but you know, some people like to have a lot of rods. And basically what you do is you run a strap through here, and then you have one of these rings, and you can use another ring like this, and you just strap it down. Make sure it's on nice and tight. I don't have it strapped down right now. And as I said, this is my Coleman 40 ounces. Put 3 of these right in here. It's enough water for pretty much all day trip for me. Especially, you know, if it's really hot, I always have some spare water bottles in here, just in case I run out. But you know, that's a good way to carry a lot of water, or coconut water. Sometimes I bring that too. Now, these goofy things are for beer, but I'm using them for when I transport my board. This goes up against the bed of my truck in the front, keeps this from getting damaged, because I like to snug my board right tight up against the vertical wall of my bed of my truck. I'll show you another video of how I load this thing. Now, I always bring my anchor. You probably see this on here. And when you're transporting it around, you don't want to have the anchor on, and you don't want to have the sea anchor. This is an $18 item on Amazon. Slows you down when you're trying to drift fish, and it's too windy. So that'll slow you down. Now this, you probably see me drop on a few big fish. If I'm far enough away from the mangroves, I'll drop my mushroom anchor. I personally like this a lot better than the stick. Some people like the stick. I had it, but it requires too much effort in two hands to really stick it in there good, and you can't do that while you're fighting fish. But you can always use one hand like this and go boop and drop that down, and that'll hold you in place. And then if you have to move again, you know, because you messed up and you shouldn't have dropped the anchor, you just lift it up with one hand. Now the board comes with these little vents right here. If you ever get water in there, yeah, you can hear there's a little bit of air coming out of there. That's because the hot air expands, so when you're not using it, you want to have those holes open. When you are using it, they're just like a drain plug. You want to have them closed down tight. So that's the board. It's 52 pounds or so, 12 feet long, very stable. You know, it's not the best vehicle for fighting fish, and that's why I like it. Gives the fish a little advantage sometimes. As opposed to a kayak, there's really not much paddling involved. Once you hook a fish, you're kind of like stuck with whatever happens. So that's why I like it. That's why I like the thrill of trying to beat a fish when you're kind of like stuck, you can't paddle. You're just kind of at the whim of the winds and the gods as to whether you're going to land that fish that day. As you can see, the two separate hulls here for the catamaran design. Also, I've got this Paraguard tape that protects the bottom from when I do have to drag it. And as you can see, these are the marks. You want to have them on the tape rather than on the actual board. But yeah, it's got two separate pontoons. That's what keeps this thing stable. These fins go in surfboards, and everybody probably that surf knows about how you do that. You slide it in, and then you lock them down like that. These are the ones that it came with, the Connect 7-inch ones. Those are the ones I use most of the time, unless I'm running real shallow. You always want to have some kind of fin for the fishing that I do, at least my fishing and my paddleboarding. But just bang it in there like that, and when you come back, you don't want to transport this with the fins in, so you just kind of kick them out like that, and they come right out of there. The paddle lock right there, that's also a Yak Attack screw in. Fits in this channel right there. And as you might notice, there's this crazy sponge here. I put this here. This kind of old, but I need to replace that. But you put this down and it makes a lot of noise, so I try to put this in down very slowly, not to make any noise. Snap it in place, not make any noise. And then I don't want to do that. Make a lot of noise, scare the fish, because usually when I'm stop paddling it's because I'm about to cast. Well, we better get inside before it starts raining. If y'all have any questions, put them in the comments below. And if you like the video, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and let's go fishing. Just not today. That's all there is to it.